Okay, it's just about 4 minutes after 7 o'clock here on a cloudy Wednesday night in April. So I think we'll begin our presentation this evening. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for being with us this evening as we kick off the admission cycle for the Fordham Prep class of 2026. It's amazing to think about how we are already looking to the class of 2026 after a long admission season. My name is Brad Serton. I'm the Director of Admissions at Fordham Prep and also a very proud member of the class of 1995. And I'm thrilled you're with us tonight and thrilled you're taking the time to learn a little bit more about our very special community of faith, scholarship, and service. And during our presentation tonight, you're going to hear from our president and principal, meet members of our community, including students, faculty, coaches, parents, alumni, and they'll learn a little bit more about the admissions process as you guys will start, many of you out there will start that in the fall. We'll also give you the opportunity to ask some questions of us. So we will have some time to talk a little bit about some of the things that are important to you in your assessment of high school admissions. And we hope it's informative and we hope it's entertaining. And we will probably try to stick to about an hour, a little bit over an hour of your time. But I can imagine those of you who are with us tonight, 7th graders, 6th graders, you probably have a lot of questions as you started to think about the high school process in earnest. I'm sure one of these has to be, what is a typical day at Fordham Prep like? Well, you know, we want to not bury the lead here and talk right away about what a typical day at Fordham Prep is like. And one of the things that we did in the fall was create a short video about a day in the life of one of our freshmen. So Alfonso Pimentel lives in the Bronx. He attended St. John's, a school in Kingbridge. During his freshman year here at the Prep, he's been involved in marine biology, in the aviation club. He's run cross country. And we spent a day with him and tried to find out what his day was like. So I want to kick off tonight by showing you a little bit of that. So I'm going to share my screen here, and we are going to take a look at a day in the life of freshman at Fordham Prep, Alfonso Pimentel. Hold on one second.
Hi, my name's Alfonso. I'm a freshman at Fordham Prep, and today you're gonna follow me to learn what it's like to be a student at the Prep. I wake up every day at 6, and I leave my house at 7:15. I walk from my house all the way to the train, and from there, the bus station's in front of the train station, and then it drops me off right at the Prep. Every day I commute from the west side of the Bronx.
Stand clear of the closing doors.
Program for a day? Well, I followed freshman at Fordham Prep, and that's what showed me what the Prep is really about. The classes, the teachers, the students, and how it really all works. So, and that was one of the main factors why I came here.
Good morning, welcome to Fordham Prep.
Freshmen have to report to the theater every morning to receive AM prayer and announcements.
Made everything where every meal needed to be made from scratch.
Hi, my name is Mr. Ward. I'm an algebra teacher here at the Prep, and I just want to welcome you guys. Have a great day. And algebraic expressions. Like I said, we don't have class until next Tuesday again, so this work here, pace yourself through it.
Global Studies is now gonna be my next class. The teachers are super nice, and as long as you do your work, do your homework, pay attention, raise your hand, they're gonna be super nice to you. You know, if you need help, they're gonna be there.
Hey, welcome. I'm Mr. Veely. I teach Global here at Fordham Prep.
I finished up in Global. Now I'm about to head into English.
Hello, my name is Kevin Piggott, and I am the freshman English teacher of this class, and I'd like to welcome you to it, and I hope you really enjoy your day, and thank you for coming.
My favorite thing about the Prep is knowing that the teachers are people who are going to be there for me, who are going to teach me what I need to learn, and someone I could rely on, something that I know what they teach I'm going to be using in my life in the future. Religious studies just ended and we learned about the life of St. Ignatius, and it's the end of the day. See you downstairs. My day at Fordham Prep has ended. I hope you enjoyed the experience. Can't wait to see you next year.
So we're very lucky that Alfonso is here tonight with us. And he wanted to share his own welcome from the perspective of a student, a current freshman at Fordham Prep. So I'm happy to introduce Alfonso to share some of his thoughts with you. Alfonso, take us away.
All right. Good evening. I'm happy to be here with you tonight. As I reflect on this year, I'm happy that I chose to attend the prep. My goal in life is to be successful, and we are only given one life to do so. So I aim for the sky, and through hard work, I gain acceptance into the prep, which is preparing me for college and beyond. I have really enjoyed my experience over the past few months at the prep. I've had the opportunity to join some of our many co-curricular clubs like the Marine Biology and Aviation Club. Both are moderated by my biology teacher, Dr. Gonzalez, who makes everything a learning experience by explaining the day's lesson using references and examples that are relative to young students like myself, and encourages project-based learning. For example, when learning about genes, we built 3D models of the coronavirus to better understand its genetic makeup. As a member of the Aviation Club, I have the ability to learn flight protocols using X-Plane, a simulation software. In addition to clubs, I'm an athlete on the track and field team as a sprinter and hurdler. Recently, the Fordham Prep track and field team was victorious and won the first ever Polar Bear Catholic High School Athletic Association meet. This was very meaningful to us because the season was impacted by the pandemic, and we were determined to perform to the best of our ability at every chance we would get. As my first year at Fordham comes to an end, I'd like to highlight two things that I've learned, which is we are not alone, but together. It seems a little weird to say, but my classmates united as men for others to make it this year with COVID. As brothers, we supported each other, even if it was as simple as helping one another find their classroom. The second thing that I've learned is that I'm more excited to go and learn than ever before. There's never a day where I wake up and question going to school. I've realized my teachers do more than just show up for work. They teach with a compassion and a desire to make us prepare for what's next. For those reasons, I'm happy that I chose to attend Fordham Prep. Thank you once again for joining us for our virtual open house. I look forward to answering any questions this evening, and I hope you will visit us soon.
Thanks very much, Alfonso. Very well said. And as Alfonso mentioned, you're going to get a chance to hear a little bit more from him later in the program, and certainly ask him some questions if you have any. But you know, the 2020-2021 school year is the 8th in the tenure of our president, Father Devron, and it's certainly been a year like no other that any of us in education can remember. So I'm happy to introduce Father Devron to you tonight, and he's going to share his thoughts about Fordham Prep and about Jesuit education with you. So Father Devron, take it away.
Thanks, Mr. Sertan. Welcome, everyone. Really happy to have you with us in this virtual format. You know, watching Alfonso's video, it reminded me that just a few years ago when we had, when we had admissions videos, we didn't have masks and students washing their hands and all the things that we do today. But there are things that endure in Jesuit education, and that's what I'd like to speak with you about today. Things that endure even through a pandemic experience like the one that we're having. When you see Mr. Sertan on your screen, you see two Gothic stone pillars on his shoulders. On his left, you see St. Ignatius Loyola. It's hard to see, it's in the background, but that represents the foundation of Jesuit education going back over 450 years. To Spain and to Italy, where Jesuit education was first founded. And Jesuit education was established really so that we could create a vanguard within society of highly educated At that time, certainly young men who were committed to excellence in everything they did, but also would take their gifts and talents and use them for a greater purpose. Uh, so, um, so the history that your son would enter into is not new. It goes back for more than 450 years. And here on the Rose Hill campus, which is symbolized by that other pillar on Mr. Sertan's behind Mr. Sertan's right shoulder, that's a relief of St. John the Baptist. So 180 years ago, Fordham Prep was established as St. John's College. It was not originally founded as a Jesuit school. It was founded by Archbishop John Hughes, the Archbishop of New York, and he dedicated the campus at that time to John the Baptist. And shortly thereafter, Jesuits were invited in to Fordham, and the name was changed from St. John's to Fordham College, and eventually Fordham University. So we have been at this for a very long time. Jesuit education focuses on helping our students, first of all, discover their talents and then put their talents to use for God's greater glory, which we believe is going to make the world a better place. So our students, when they graduate after 4 years, we're looking for students who will be more religious, more intellectually competent, certainly more committed to justice. Those would be a few of the what we call the graduate at graduation, the profile of what we expect after 4 years. The way this all happens is because teachers take the time to get to know our students. And I was delighted to hear Alfonso say that his teachers are caring, that they take the time to get to know him. You can't care about somebody that you don't know. And that core of personalities that care for the individual starts with a commitment on behalf of our teachers. And you'll hear from some of them later, that commitment to get to know each student for his gifts, those gifts that are emerging, his challenges, and even the areas in which he struggles. So failure is not a bad word. At Fordham Prep, through failure, we can teach our students to grow and learn and be there with them, accompany them through their failure. So everything we do at Fordham Prep is individualized. I sometimes have parents say, hey, do you have a math honors program? Another school I'm looking at has a math honors program. Do you have an English honors program? Do you have a science honors program? We have a student honor program because we will customize our honors program to the individual student and to figure out where his gifts and talents are. So it is very much a customized approach. You heard Alfonso speak about some of the clubs that he's involved in, marine biology. He spoke about the aviation club, which is very popular. Now, one of the great things about Fordham Prep is that if there's a club that you want to start that we don't have, we are committed to helping you find a way to get that club approved. So many of our students have established clubs, again, because we want to follow your passion and your interests and your desires and help them come alive, because that's what's going to make you a great young man, a man for others. And that's what's going to allow you to take those talents and help others succeed. During this time, I just want to say a word about the challenges that we're all in this pandemic. One of the ways that we've cared for our students is to realize that many families, we've had 150 families who have run into financial hardship as a result of the pandemic. And very early on, we had a commitment, we made a commitment to our entire community that we didn't want to see any student leave because of financial hardship. So we committed additional resources exponentially to ensure that no student would have to leave. And I'm proud to say that I am not aware of any student who's had to leave because of a job loss in his family or some other financial hardship. So really is that care for the community as well. The fact of the matter is, if you're going to learn and grow, you're going to get uncomfortable. And so we're going to be urging you to get uncomfortable and to stretch your mind and to stretch your heart and to stretch your interests. That's who we are, and that's what we're about. We're really about this care, this intellectual curiosity. We want to hear your questions. We want to hear your interests and your desires, and certainly we want to support you along the way. And that really is at the heart of our mission of faith, scholarship, and service. So I hope that you find this this program this evening informative. I think the fact that you're even here tells me a lot about you. Tells me that you're an early shopper. You're really interested in learning about education, about your future education, and so that's certainly a credit to you. And look forward to getting to know you, hopefully in person in the fall. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Thanks, Father Devron. In the summer of 2016, our principal, Dr. Joseph Petriello, returned to his alma mater. Dr. Petriello is a very proud member of the class of 1998. After Fordham Prep, Dr. Petriello went on to study at the College of the Holy Cross, another fabulous Jesuit institution, and then also received his master's and doctorate from Fordham University. Dr. Petriello in his career has taught at Xavier High School. He has been involved in secondary education at the Jesuit province. And then in 2016, again, as I mentioned, he came home to Rose Hill as our principal. He's more than thrilled to be here with us tonight and welcome you today. And he wanted to share some of his thoughts with you.
Thank you, Mr. Sertan. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our 6th and 7th grade families. It's really wonderful to be with you this evening because this is really an exciting time. And I say that both as a principal and as a parent. I'm a father of 4, and my oldest daughter is heading to high school in September. Hard to believe. And my daughter in 7th grade is in the same process that you are right now. And my youngest, my only son, he's in 3rd grade. So it's going to be a while before he goes through this process to join Fordham Prep's class of 2030, but it really is right around the corner. But I'm so grateful that you're here to learn more about what makes Fordham Prep unique, what it means to be a part of Jesuit education in the heart of the Bronx. And as Father Devron so beautifully shared, our story really begins with the foundation of who we are as a Catholic Jesuit school community. And Jesuit education today in the 21st century is at its best when we respond to the signs of the times, to adapt with change for our current context. Our world is rapidly changing, and we as a learning community rests in the heart of our commitment to mission, our tradition, our history, but always looking at new horizons, to adapt, to innovate. And we want to teach our students to adapt for their unique time as well. And young men like Alfonso are being formed as leaders for a world that needs them, a world that needs Alfonso's vision, gifts, and talents, and all 950 students who are currently at Fordham Prep, and hopefully one day for you to join our community as well. When I reflect on all my years in Jesuit education, I really think about the relationships, how a Fordham Prep education begins and ends with dedicated people. And many of them you'll hear from tonight, students, alumni, teachers, staff, parents. Our experience for students at the prep is unique among schools in the tri-state area, both in and out of the classroom, because we're a community that challenges our young men and provides opportunities that you really can't find elsewhere. We've been doing this for a very long time. 8 generations of young men have come across the Rose Hill campus, and Fordham Prep is a place where your life will be changed. It did so a long, long time ago when I was a student. I think I was a freshman when Mr. Sertan was a senior, and he and I are 2 of 33 alumni on faculty and staff. And our lives have been shaped in tremendous ways, and we're here to share our story with you alongside our current students and our current staff members. So, do we have a wonderful campus? Absolutely. Do we have excellent academic programs, solid athletics and activities? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's the people that make Fordham Prep the community that it is. You'll hear this evening from some of our incredibly talented, dedicated, and caring teachers. They're exceptional in the classroom, but they're also mentors, counselors, coaches, retreat leaders. They take students around the world on global education trips and service immersion trips. Our teachers have experience of over 18 years on average, and many of them have been at the prep for 14 years or more. They're committed, they know their disciplines, they live out a vocation of being Ignatian educators who know and love the prep because they care for their students each and every day. And I'm really privileged to be able to work with them and work alongside them and be inspired by them each and every day. Father Devron also mentioned our individualized academic curriculum. So Fordham Prep is a place where you could take honors classes, advanced honors classes. We have 20 different AP classes, 3 of which were just recently added in music, psychology, and Chinese. As a freshman, you could stretch your minds in algebra with Mr. Ward or geometry with Mr. Helmsley, biology with Ms. Blanco. Later on, many of our students also qualify for college classes at Fordham University, where they go on to study philosophy, economics, computer science. Our values today at Fordham Prep are the same as they've always been. We offer a classical education rooted in human excellence that adapts teaching and learning for a rapidly changing future. You'll hear tonight about our iSTEAM initiatives like esports, robotics, and 3D printing, our global education program, and our Global Scholars Program, which is a new way that we've reimagined how to connect with our brother Jesuit schools through technology right here on campus. And as Father Devron also mentioned, I'll just say a little bit about how we've adapted during these unique times during the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm really proud that we worked as a school community to open our doors early in the summer of 2020 for in-person learning, for community building among our students. Right now, our freshmen and our sophomores are in our hybrid program, and the overwhelming majority of them are in the building 4 out of 6 days a cycle to learn, 2 remotely at home. All of our seniors and juniors who've opted for in-person learning are at school every single day. And that wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for, again, that care and dedication of our faculty, of our staff, of our partnership with parents and guardians. In activities this weekend, we have a virtual musical from our Dramatic Society on Godspell, and our spring sports season is back in action with busy days ahead for our lacrosse team, basketball, baseball, crew, rugby, and so many others. So really, I'll leave you with this. Fordham Prep is a place where I explored my passions, and I believe it's a place where you can explore your passions as well. There'll be a lot of challenge, there'll be a lot of opportunity, but Jesuit education at Fordham Prep is about calling you to excellence, about calling you to be your best self, calling you to be a critical thinker who is a man of integrity, compassion, and respect. So I hope you have a wonderful visit with us this evening. I'll turn it back over to Mr. Serton, and I look forward to talking to you more during the panel.
Thanks, Dr. Petruello. You know, the Fordham Prep experience is expansive, both inside and outside the classroom. And while we talk very broadly about faith, scholarship, and service, you know, Fordham Prep offers our students so many opportunities to grow and change and develop. And as Dr. Petruello said, follow your passion. So I want to take a little bit of an opportunity to show you a video we created that gives you a sense of the wealth and breadth of the programming that we have. And after we have that video, we're going to start our panel where you're going to meet all of our panelists. We're going to have a little bit of a group discussion and then go into some question and answers from you out in our participants. So I am going to share my screen one more time here. And I am going to start our admissions video. So hold on one second, please.
In 1841, Bishop John Hughes founded the first Catholic Institute of Higher Learning in the Northeast United States, on the Rose Hill Manor in what was still known as Westchester County. St. John's College, as it was called then, had 2 divisions. The first division was comprised mainly of students we would consider college-aged, and the second division, or high school-age students. Over the years, St. John's College changed its name to Fordham University, and the second division of St. John's College became known as Fordham Preparatory School. Fordham Prep has called the historic Rose Hill campus home for its entire history, but since the early 70s has been located in Shea Hall, here on the northwest corner of the property. Named for longtime teacher and administrator, Father Arthur Shea, it hosts nearly 1,000 students every day. And while Fordham Prep's name and buildings may have changed, its mission to form leaders in faith, scholarship, and service through a Catholic, Jesuit, college preparatory experience has not. Fordham Prep's Faith Formation program is designed to give our students the space to get to know themselves and their place in this world more deeply. All students, whether they're Catholic or not, are required to take religious studies classes for 4 years. Freshmen participate in one freshman retreat during the spring of their initial year at the prep. We also offer retreats for sophomores, juniors, and seniors, which are not required but encouraged. In fact, 90% of Fordham Prep students choose to go on one of these retreats before they graduate. The Fordham Prep community comes together each morning and each afternoon for prayer and reflection. Fordham Prep students have the ability to take part in Mass daily at 7:55 in the morning here in the Prep Chapel, or 7 times a year as a school community right across the street in the historic Fordham University Church. As a college preparatory school, Fordham Prep's academic program is designed to challenge students inside the classroom and prepare them for college. Each student has access to our individualized honors program, which includes honors, advanced honors, and advanced placement classes. Fordham Prep offers 20 different advanced placement classes in all different academic disciplines: math and science, humanities and language, and the fine arts. All Fordham Prep students are required as freshmen to take a classical language, either Latin or ancient Greek, and the reading and critical thinking skills acquired during this year will help students at Fordham Prep, in college, and beyond. Each student is also required to achieve a credit in our Visual and Performing Arts department. They can do this in a number of different ways. They can choose to take one of our 15 different full-year academic classes, including music, studio art, art history, architecture, acting, and graphic design. They can also choose to participate in a number of different co-curricular activities, including dramatics, newspaper, yearbook, and FPTV, our video production club. By the time they are seniors, all students have the ability to qualify for classes at Fordham University's Rose Hill campus. And by doing so, they can do research and work in Fordham University's Walsh Library. Those students enrolled in classes at the university need not pay tuition. Their tuition is included with Fordham Preps.
Service is an essential component to the Fordham Prep student experience. Through our comprehensive 4-year service requirement, we form men for others. In freshman and sophomore year, our students complete their service requirement in group settings. During these years, they organize events like blood drives, charity walks, and raise money for natural disasters and illnesses. In junior year, our students are required to perform 15 hours of service, and we ask that they focus that time on the Fordham Prep community. In order to graduate, our seniors are required to perform 70 hours of service, and we ask that they focus at least 50 hours of that commitment towards those most in need outside of the Fordham Prep community. Fordham Prep students also have the ability to participate in 3 different service immersion trips each summer. Our students travel to the St. Oscar Romero Center in Camden, New Jersey, to the Appalachian region of Tennessee with Habitat for Humanity, and to the Working Boys Center in Quito, Ecuador. Our students live with, work alongside, and serve the underserved members of those communities. Fordham Prep recently launched a new Einstein program, an interdisciplinary program that focuses on science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. This program gives all Fordham Prep students access to new technologies, including experience in aviation, biomedical research, coding, computer science, engineering, gaming, and robotics in both academic classes and co-curricular clubs and activities.
Fordham Prep graduates will attend college and enter a workforce which is more global than it's ever been before. And our global education program gives our students the tools to succeed in those environments. We leverage our network of 800 Jesuit schools around the world so our students can interact with students and teachers from around the globe. Recently, we've run dedicated school exchanges with brother Jesuit schools in Australia, Ireland, and Italy. Our students have participated in ecological studies in Costa Rica, Hawaii, and Belize. They've studied, worked, and prayed alongside peers in Rwanda and Tanzania. They've taken cultural trips to China and engaged in a medical mission in Guatemala. In the last 6 years, Fordham Prep students have set foot on 6 different continents.
Fordham Prep students have the option of participating in over 70 different co-curricular activities. Clubs are organized and administered by our students with faculty oversight. They include speech and debate, aviation, gaming, chess, magic, dramatics, jazz ensemble, chorus, UNICEF, Operation Smile, outdoor adventure, skiing, frisbee, anime, training cards, and a number of cultural organizations including Coeda, Italian, Albanian, Irish, German, and Spanish clubs.
Fordham Prep offers 41 unique teams in 18 varsity sports. Our athletic facilities include the Donnie Walsh Court in the Higgins Gymnasium, which is home to our basketball and volleyball programs. The Intramural Gym, which hosts numerous athletic teams for practices, and is home to our fitness center, which is optimal for strength and conditioning training. The Rowan Athletic Field is an outdoor 70-yard multi-purpose facility which is used for practice by our track and field and cross-country programs, as well as football, lacrosse, soccer, and rugby. Most of our athletic programs also take advantage of our relationship with Fordham University and use NCAA Division I facilities for both practices and games. These include our football, lacrosse, rugby, soccer, tennis, baseball, swimming and diving, squash, and indoor track and field programs. Since 2010, our athletic teams have won over 45 individual and team city and state championships. Beginning in March 2019 and over a span of 12 months, the Fordham Prep Rams won city championships in hockey, baseball, tennis, soccer, cross country, swimming and diving, and the school's first basketball championship in 83 years. Since it opened nearly 50 years ago, Shea Hall has benefited from a number of different upgrades. In the last 7 years alone, Fordham Prep has invested over $20 million in its facilities. And these include classrooms, labs, and academic offices, our group study space, the Lynch Commons, and our main lobby. The result is a facility that's prepared to engage over 1,000 students each day. These facilities include the Bowler Science Center, with its 6 state-of-the-art labs and a working greenhouse. The Global Education Conference Room, which allows our students to engage with peers from all over the world, from our home right here in the Bronx. And the Leonard Theater, home to our award-winning Dramatic Society. In fact, Fordham Prep is the only independent school in New York City with a 1,000-seat theater of its own. The Lynch Commons hosts the student body for breakfast and lunch each day and transforms often for school-wide events. The new Prep Chapel opened in 2018 and hosts our daily Mass every morning at 7:55 and is open all day for quiet prayer and reflection. And our Makerspace pop-up lab is used by all academic departments as part of our interdisciplinary iSTEAM program.
Fordham Prep is located on the beautiful and historic Rose Hill campus in the heart of the Bronx, and commuting is a very important part of the student experience. The prep is easily accessible via bus, car, and train. In fact, well over 60% of our students travel to and from school each day via Metro North to the Fordham stop on the New Haven line and the Botanical Garden stop on the Harlem line. Each is just a 6-minute walk to Shea Hall's front door. The campus is very close to the Bronx River Parkway and has access to multiple public transportation options, including the 4 and D subway lines and public buses. Fordham Prep also helps, based on demand, to arrange van service for a fee to Manhattan's Upper West Side.
Our graduates are accepted at the most prestigious colleges and universities in the world. On average, 60% of Fordham Prep students matriculate to a college or university rated by Barron's as highly selective, and 40% matriculate to a Catholic institution. The class of 2020 was accepted at over 240 unique schools, including Air Force, Boston College, Brown, Cornell, Dartmouth, Fordham, Georgetown, McGill University in Canada, Notre Dame, Northwestern, NYU, University of St. Andrews in Scotland, the University of Pennsylvania, the University of Virginia, Vanderbilt, and Villanova.
Upon their graduation, Fordham Prep students enter an exclusive fraternity of over 11,000 living alumni around the world. They are captains of industry and leaders in their field. They are doctors, lawyers, and teachers. Our alumni are active in finance, the arts, and nonprofit organizations. They are living out St. Ignatius's mandate to go forth and set the world on fire, a mandate first introduced to them upon their arrival on the historic Rose Hill campus.
To learn more about the transformative.
Okay, so I'm going to stop our video here and stop my screen share. Hopefully that gives you a better sense of the wonderful expansiveness of the Fordham Prep experience. But now we're going to start our panel tonight with some members of our community and talk a little bit about their experience at Fordham Prep. So you've already met Father Devron, Dr. Petriello, and Alfonso. We're pleased to have senior Jack Korb with us tonight. Jack is from Westchester County and attended Bronxville Middle School. Jack has received general excellence in the classroom every single year he's been with us as a student. He's a member of the National Honor Society, and if I have my information right, Jack is heading to the University of California at Los Angeles, UCLA, in the fall. Miss Annalisa Blanco is a member of the Science Department. She's a freshman mentor, has been involved in the Dramatic Society during her time at Fordham Prep, and has also moderated the Magic Club. Mr. Omar Ward is with us tonight. He's a proud member of the class of 1992 and was a senior when I was a freshman, to give you the example Dr. Petriello mentioned about us earlier in the evening. Member of the Math Department. Mr. Ward's also a freshman mentor, heavily involved in the basketball program as the head coach of our JV team, and is the current proud parent of 2 Fordham Prep students, a current freshman and a junior. Mr. Anthony Curtin, our athletic director, is with us. He's in his 6th year at Fordham Prep. Mr. Chris Hemsley teaches mathematics and is the head of the school's lacrosse program, the varsity lacrosse coach. He's with us tonight. We also have a member of our current parents with us tonight. Miss Anne Marie Hunter is the proud mom of senior Liam, who will be graduating in a few weeks, and Declan, who is a junior, and they live in the Bronx. So Miss Hunter is going to talk a little bit about her experience. And then finally, we're thrilled to be joined by Will Rotniak. Will graduated Fordham Prep in 2014 and then Georgetown University in 2018. And he's currently trading and logistics analyst at Olam International, which is a major food and agribusiness company. So thank you to our panel for being with us tonight. I'm going to open the panel with a few questions that I have that I want our panelists to talk about. You, our guests, please use the Q&A function in Zoom, and we're going to get to some of your questions. We might answer them in the Zoom chat, or we might answer them live. So please use the Q&A function. But I want to open with our student panelists. I want to open with Alfonso and Jack. And Jack, maybe you can kick off this particular question. Guys, what is your favorite part? Your current students, you're in the building every day. What's your favorite part about being a student at Fordham Prep? Jack, why don't you start us with that?
Yeah, I would say definitely being a part of the Fordham Prep community is huge. And I would say the retreat community and the campus ministry community is something I'm heavily involved in at Fordham. And just working with Mr. Kravitz, working with Dr. Smith, and having the pleasure of leading and attending retreats and growing in my faith has been some of my favorite experiences at the prep.
Jack, did I get it right? You're going to UCLA? Are you going to be a Bruin?
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct.
I'm glad I had that info correct. Alfonso, what's your, you touched on it a little bit. What's your favorite part about coming to Fordham Prep every day?
For me, my favorite part of Fordham Prep would have to be being with my friends. We're all like brothers in a way. We always have each other's back, like I said. Making sure that everyone has their own assignments on time, helping each other if one has a question with like a simple algebra problem. So yeah, that's my favorite part of the day.
Thanks, Alfonso. Ms. Blanco, Mr. Ward, you have a lot of experience in the building working with our students. You've seen what it's like, especially as freshman mentors, how students transition to Fordham Prep. But what do you both think it takes to be successful as a student at Fordham Prep in what you've seen over your time?
Well, I could start us off if that's okay, Mr. Ward. So I think what everybody has spoken about is, the grad at grad and the pillars of a Jesuit education. And I think being open to growth and especially being meant for others and wanting to succeed both in the classroom and outside of the classroom, once again, is a major pillar that I see, successful students have, and be willing to come see us. We're here to help you. And I've noticed that most students that are very successful here at Fordham Prep, they take the time to see us and, just build that rapport, both inside the classroom and during extracurricular activities. As you said, Mr. Sertan, I am part of the Dramatic Society, so I get to see a lot of students, in the theater and in the play that we're very grateful to be having this weekend. So virtually, but still it's going to be great. I'm very excited about it. So just building that rapport and, just coming to see us and asking questions. That's what builds a successful student here at Fordham Prep, I think.
I'd like to piggyback on that. Students that are open and willing to come to us to achieve what goals they want to achieve are usually more successful. Students that learn how to self-advocate for themselves and they have true success. So just piggybacking on what Ms. Blanco said is definitely the keys to being successful at the prep. Openness to the community in itself and being a part of the community also helps to be more successful there at the prep.
Thank you. Anne-Marie, if we can bring you in to talk from the parent perspective.
Sure.
We've heard from students and from some faculty. What's it like to see two boys enter as freshmen, fresh-faced freshmen on the Rose Hill campus, and watch them grow over their time at Fordham Prep, a senior and a junior? What do you think Fordham Prep has done to them and for them?
I think that it is definitely the ideals that have been discussed within the film and across all these different teachers and such. My children have had every single teacher on this panel, so it's a great faces to see here.
That was an accident. So
it was an accident. Well, I mean, current and former teachers, it's great. It's really, I said when Declan got in to join Liam here, I said, when I know that I'm gone from this planet, I know that you're going to have Star Wars and Fordham Prep in common. And basketball. Coach Ward can tell you contest how much my younger son talks about basketball. So those three things I knew were going to keep them aligned to each other, not only as brothers, but as brothers at a different level. They both have learned how to have voices and speak for themselves and find their interests and find where they can kind of curtail their passions into something that's bigger than themselves. So that's something that has really been a blessing to see.
How do you think the faculty has supported your boys, whether it's inside and outside the classroom? Anything specific that you can think about how they've helped shepherd them through academic work, outside the classroom work?
Well, I have had, actually mostly that came through my younger son. My younger son was actually diagnosed with a learning disability that had been kind of underlying, and it kind of came fruit when he was a freshman. And so the kindness that teachers, as we were going through the process and realizing that there was something that needed to get him to the next level academically, they were very kind to him in that way. And in my sophomore year, Declan unfortunately had a grammar school friend pass away, and he didn't go to Fordham Prep, but the kindness that his teacher showed him and to give him the space to grieve and the space to understand that grief is ever changing was very kind. And it was very comforting as a mother to know that he had those people to look out for him on a daily basis.
Jack and Alfonso, do you feel supported at Fordham Prep? How are the teachers that you've had in your 4-year career, your 1-year career supported you guys?
Yeah, 100%. And even if it's just asking questions about my faith, asking questions about life in general. I feel like a lot of the teachers at Fordham give me very good answers to these questions. Just the other day, I was talking to my freshman religion teacher, and he was also my teacher when I was a young 7th grader as a part of Fordham Prep's higher achievement program. And he kind of sparked my interest in the prep. And so Mr. Fedak, I was talking to him about the abuse scandal in the church, and he was answering some of my questions about like the history of the church and how it was kind of influenced and how that isn't representative of people who are joining the priesthood now. And I just think being able to ask teachers any single question at any point of the day, whether it's about religion, life, or just a question about homework or a test you had, is just an amazing thing about Fordham.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely feel supported in the way that the teachers make sure that you understood all of the material. Like, take for example, my math teacher, Mr. Ward. He makes sure every homework assignment that we have in, that we understood it, and that we have no questions about the assignment. And it's really heartwarming in a way because he goes out of his own way to make sure that we are all on the same page.
Will, we're hearing a lot of this special relationship between faculty members and students. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your experience at the prep. Is there a particular faculty member that motivated you or connected with you in a special way, and what was that way?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could really list a lot of different teachers who I, formed strong relationships with, and I'm still friendly with to this day. But one in particular was my Spanish teacher for 3 years, Senor Baker, and him and I really engaged well, and he really helped me spark an interest in Latin America and Latin America's the culture, the language Spanish, and the different aspects of it, and that really has helped me carry on that interest into my studying Latin America in school, Georgetown, and then also in my career right now and where I'm working. And then also, he was just a very motivational and inspirational person. I had him for 3 years, and throughout those 3 years, I think he learned 3 different languages. And it was just so cool to see someone just want to do something and then just go do it. And for for a high school boy, it's kind of inspirational to see just someone getting out there and chasing their dreams and doing what they want to do.
Thanks, Will. We've talked a lot, certainly earlier, about some of the activities our students can be involved in. Alfonso mentioned some of the things that he does. You saw it in the video. The things that students can do outside of the classroom at Fordham Prep is pretty expansive, and certainly athletics is a big part of that. We have 41 individual teams in 18 varsity sports and are generally pretty successful at all of them. So I want to talk to Mr. Curtin and Coach Hemsley a little bit about their experience of sports. What do you think Fordham Prep does to make student athletes successful? It's you have to put in time to be successful on the field. You have to put in time to be successful in the classroom. How does the athletic department handle that? And Coach Hemsley, how do you think it translates to your experience working with student athletes?
Yeah, one great thing about Fordham Prep is just about every program has a faculty member on the staff. So that really helps us work together as a whole. So even though, the track and lacrosse teams are practicing and competing at the same time, a lot of my players did indoor track or cross country. And so we work together to get guys ready for athletic seasons by planning our strength and conditioning programs with each other, encouraging boys to try different sports, and then also being understanding of their time commitments. As faculty members, we realize, they're student athletes, and the student part comes first. So we work with them with their academics. I look at all my boys' grades all the time. We stay on top of them. We make sure there's time for them to get their academics and in order so that they can be successful on and off the field.
Thanks, Coach. Mr. Curtin, you feel like that's indicative of how all coaches and all programs work?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's great is what makes my life so much easier is when I do have coaches who are teachers in the building. And, I think they all want to win, but I think what's most important first is making sure that that young man his academics come first, as Coach Hemsley said. And I think that's something that we preach and making sure that they're taken care of. I love how my coaches work together, and sometimes I'll be the middle guy to work with them, but they're so great working together and understanding that these young men have a lot going on, and that athletics is just a part of their Fordham Prep experience, and that academics comes first. But I think that they do a great job in putting them both together and worrying about the young man as a person first, and then as a student, and then as an athlete. So I think it's a great combination of how they all work together. And I think that's why we're so successful both on and off the playing field.
Thank you, Mr. Curtin. I want to go back to Ms. Blanco and Mr. Ward and talk a little bit about our service program. Service is a vital part of the Fordham Prep experience. How have you been involved in it as faculty members, and how does that manifest itself in the classroom, outside of the classroom, and in your experience and the Fordham Prep experience in general?
Well, I'm currently a service teacher, so I do teach one section of seniors specifically dedicated to completing their service hours, which I think was mentioned in that admissions video, which was fabulous. So I'll plug that in. Obviously, with COVID and the pandemic going on, we had to revamp the entire service program just to show that it is a very vital part of Fordham Prep's mission and identity. But outside of that actual service as a class, I do see service incorporated into individual classes as well. In terms of my class for science, I tend to look at science through a social justice view. For example, we talked about Henrietta Lacks in my class last week, I think. And there was a social justice issue surrounding her and her cells. So not only is service class, an actual vital part of Fordham Prep, but service is also somehow linked throughout each individual courses as well.
Anne Marie, can you talk a little bit? Oh, I'm sorry, Coach.
Yeah, good.
Anne Marie, how has the service experience affected your boys? What have they done for service? How have you seen them respond to their service requirements?
Actually, over the summer, my boys started in Riverdale for the Riverdale Y, helping to, when they had inactive time, they kind of went and with a few other Fordham Prep students, there was a group, about 6 of them went to the Riverdale Y every 3 days, I guess, over the summer, and would pack the people, the kind of meals for and for people who are homebound, and that was a growing number. So they started, and then as soon as COVID hit, they knew that they had to do a little part, and they really wanted to take part in their neighborhood and see it amongst in the most local kind of way. That's one way that they've kind of started showing their activism. My older son Liam is going to be heading to McGill University. I was very happy to see that on I'm excited. And he's actually was involved with the environmental club, and his hours that he did in this new way of retooling service project was being part of the environmental club that was advocating for environmental needs and growing changes that are happening rapidly in our planet. So, and that's actually something that he's looking forward to studying, urban planning, and possibly with an environmental urban lean to it at McGill. So he was able to use it and, kind of propel his interest forward.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So before I ask the next question, just a reminder that if you do have questions, please get them in the Q&A function. We might type them in the answer, or we might be answering them live. So please continue to do that. But talking about McGill and college, great segue. I want to talk to Will a little bit about Georgetown and your experience there. When you got to Georgetown as a freshman, Will, how did you feel that Fordham Prep prepared you when you sat in on classes compared to your friends from other schools? Did you feel a difference? What was it like to be a freshman at Georgetown after being a student at the Prep?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a little bit of an overwhelming feeling to some degree, but I would definitely say that Fordham helped me be able to overcome that feeling of overwhelmness. The number one thing I think Fordham really helped me to prepare for school was just to learn how to think critically, and to prepare for tests, and how to study, and how to engage myself. I definitely, of course, I gain a strong foundation and knowledge of a lot of different topics. But when you get to school, you're obviously learning different things and more complex things, which you don't really get to in Fordham. But learning how to think and how to study and prepare at Fordham really helped me to be able to succeed more at Georgetown, and being able to break things down and not allow myself to get too overwhelmed by different topics or ideas that were being presented in lectures.
Thanks. I'm going to go back to the students as we're going to start to wrap up the Q&A. I just want to be conscious of everyone's time. I'm going to ask them a bit of a nervy question here tonight, since we have some faculty with us. Guys, do you have a favorite class or favorite teacher that in your both long and short Fordham Prep careers has motivated you or really sparked something in you? And
Yeah,
since Jack,
definitely.
I was going to say, since Jack's had more teachers, he might need some more time to think, but go ahead.
Oh yeah, kind of going back to my point about Mr. Fedak and how he kind of sparked my interest in the Fordham Prep community. I would say, even though I only had him as a freshman and he's my service teacher this year, I would say he has definitely been my favorite teacher, and freshman religion has definitely been my favorite class at the prep, because I just think Mr. Fedak, just everything that he says and everything that he kind of tells us about life and his personal experiences and his kind of battles with the religion, and how he has felt like through certain points, whether it's turning away from religion or turning towards religion, and how he's dealt with that. And the fact that this class was pretty much the first class where I had the ability to have an open dialogue about my faith, an open dialogue about religion as well, and then also political issues. So just hearing from students of all walks of life, all different parts. A great thing about Fordham is it's so geographically diverse in regards to kids come from the city, Manhattan, the Bronx, Westchester, even we have some students from Connecticut. And because of that, I was able to listen to so many different perspectives, and just that open dialogue that Mr. Fedak was kind of able to foster and create that zone of respect as soon as you walked into his classroom was something that I really respected him for. And it made my experience as a freshman that much better. And it kind of confirmed my suspicions about Fordham Prep and how much I would like it, and that it was ultimately the right decision to move from Bronxville to Fordham.
Yeah, my favorite teacher would have to be my English teacher, Mr. Piggott. We always read, right now we're reading Julius Caesar by Shakespeare, and it's a very hard book to read, but it's really interesting because it shows me that Fordham tries to unlock our knowledge, our cap value, so that to see how well we're doing, and expand it beyond, let's say if all freshmen were at level 1, by the time we're seniors, we would be at level 4, and so on and so forth. We'd be ready for college. And so yeah, Mr. Pig would have to be my favorite teacher.
Thanks, Alfonso. And we are going to wrap up our Q&A section here. The wonderful thing about some of the programming we'll talk about for the fall is that you'll get a chance to interact more with members of our community, our students, our faculty, our staff, our alumni, our parents. It's a really wonderful part of the admissions process. And I think that you'll find that there's such a wealth and breadth of experience of Fordham Prep that it will connect you more to the school than anything else. So thank you all for submitting your questions, and all of our panelists today. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. But before we end our presentation, I did want to review some things as you start to think about admissions in the fall, some of our admissions procedures. All of this information will be available on our website, but I just want to take you through a couple of things to think about. So Fordham Prep does require our own application to apply to Fordham Prep. You must fill out an online application that Fordham Prep has on our website, which will open in the fall. We do need copies of your 7th and 8th grade report cards. We do need a written recommendation, which is done online, and a standardized admissions exam. So it's really 4 main parts to our application. And we accept all major admissions exams. We accept the tax exam given by the Archdiocese of New York, the HSPT, which is called the High School Placement Test, the independent school entrance exam, the ISE and the SSAT are all exams that you can take and apply to Fordham Prep with. So that's something to consider as you're making your plans for the fall. And again, our application opens on September 1st in a few months, so you do have some time before that. If you do want to be considered for a merit scholarship, that's a bit of a separate process, but you must take the HSPT in order to be considered for a merit scholarship. And within our admissions process, we think it's vital to our community to ensure that all students, no matter their economic background, can come to Fordham Prep if they're qualified. So, we do take great pains to distribute well over $4 million a year in financial aid to our community. I think Father Devron mentioned in his opening about how the support we gave to our community during COVID, but that's support that really happens every single year at Fordham Prep. So there is a separate application for financial aid that also opens on September 1st. So that's something I do want you to keep in mind. It's also a financial aid at Fordham Prep. It does not constitute a loan. It is something that you don't have to pay back. So do keep that in mind as well. And as we do head towards the fall, in fact, Dr. Petriello and I were meeting about the fall today. We do hopefully anticipate in-person events. So we hope to have you on campus at the beautiful and historic Rose Hill campus. So the fall season will bring open houses, Ram for a Day, as Alfonso mentioned, which was so key in him choosing to come to Fordham Prep, which is our Shadow Day program, tours, but we are going to continue having virtual events. I think you will see most of schools keep doing some of these things because it's convenient to parents, convenient to faculty and staff, and allows us to dive deeper on certain subjects. So I think you'll see Fordham Prep do all of those things in the fall. But I am happy to announce, this is exclusive news tonight for those of you who are joining us, that we are opening limited tours starting next week to 7th graders. So we do have some tour availability starting in next week and in May. If you want to get on campus in a gorgeous time of the year, in May at Rose Hill is wonderful. We do have that available. So tomorrow morning, those of you who registered and were present tonight will get a very special email from us with details on how to book your tour. You get a bit of an early jump on the rest of the crowd for being with us tonight. So be on the lookout for that. Also, if you can't make it to Rose Hill in the spring, if you go to our website, you'll find a wonderful virtual tour, so you can walk through the building on your own and learn more about Fordham Prep. We have a YouTube playlist where you can learn more about very specific programs and other things that we have at Fordham Prep. So actually, I want to take 2 seconds to show you the Fordham Prep admissions website, because it is such a wonderful place where you can find a lot of information about the admissions process. So if I take you here, this is the Fordham Prep admissions site. In all of these headlines, you're going to find more information about the application process, about coming on campus and booking a tour when it's available, about our financial aid program, about merit scholarships. Our calendar will eventually be updated for the fall, our virtual tour, course placement. So if you do start to get familiar with this, it is a wonderful tool for you to learn more about the process, but also learn more about Fordham Prep. So I definitely recommend that you get familiar with it if you are starting to really be intrigued by Fordham Prep. It's a place where you're going to find a lot of information. And I will make note of this in the bottom right-hand corner, this little what's called a Weglot app that we have on our website, which actually translates our website into over 20 different languages. So if you are a family that is looking for a different language on our website, this will automatically translate it into multiple languages if you need. So I think that's a really valuable tool. Mr. Punter and myself in the admissions department are always happy to answer questions, but the website couldn't be more tailored to your specific questions and needs here. And as we wrap up tonight, I really hope you've gotten a sense of us in this short hour that we've spent together. I'm very proud to be a Fordham Prep alumnus. I'm one of 4 boys in my family to attend Fordham Prep. And I think Dr. Petriello mentioned this generational history that we have. 8 generations of Fordham Prep students have come to Rose Hill, and our history stretches back over 180 years. And perhaps some of you who are with us tonight will enter that community in the fall of 2022. But to give you a sense of the type of community you are going to mention, I am going to show one last video to give you an idea of the special nature of this, as we call long maroon line. So I'm going to share one more video with you here. And, oh, sorry, I get caught down with that. Apologies. I can't get to, sorry here. There we go. So again, we are thrilled to kick off this admission season for the class of 2026. Thrilled that you were with us tonight to engage with us. And as I mentioned, Mr. Punter and I and the admissions office are more than happy to answer any questions you have throughout the process. Never hesitate to call or email our office. Thank you to our awesome panel of faculty, staff, students who have homework to do, parents, alumnus. Will, thank you very much. Be on the lookout for that email and your head start of booking a tour if you want. But all of us at Fordham Prep hope to see you very soon and wish you a very wonderful, wonderful evening. Have a good night.